Hey everyone, and welcome to Return of Living Geeks, a podcast where we geek out about our favorite film and television shows, both old and new. I am your host, Michael Vaughn. I'm a writer for Geek Vibes Nation, and my previous bylines include Films in Review, Scream Magazine, and AMC's The Bite. I'm also the author of a book called The Ultimate Guide to Strange Cinema. Currently, I also co-host another podcast called Humanoids from the Deep Dive. Today we have a really awesome guest, Michael Keene, who is a filmmaker and professional YouTuber operating out of Las Vegas. He's also director of feature films like Fatal Future and The Head, as well as an upcoming film, which I think sounds awesome, called Dr. Deathface. So very awesome to have you here with us.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to be here in the virtual world of podcasting.
And today's going to be a fun one because we're going to be talking about the Scream series. And it's interesting because of course, with the new film, everybody's getting kind of hyped up for the original and the sequels. And it kind of got me thinking about just how like impactful Scream was for me. I was 11 years old when this came out. So I saw it kind of at the right age when I was discovering films like Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street. So yeah, when did you, were you like a fan from the get-go?
I saw it way too well. I saw the opening way too young. I was at a friend's house during like a sleepover, and I don't even remember. I have no idea how young I was. Too young. Like let's say like maybe 6. I don't know. Actually, no, I couldn't. When did Scream came out? Scream came out in 1996 or
Yeah.
yeah. So I guess I must have been, since it was on video, I must have been 6, almost 7 or 7, somewhere in there. Um, and I saw the opening and it freaked me the fuck out. Because of course, child that age, you can't tell that it's supposed to be kind of funny. And so that was a pretty early dive into horror for me. Actually, was a Scream franchise, and then later on, when I'm like in my preteens, I finally saw the whole thing, and soon after watched 2 and 3, and then when it came out, I saw 4 in theaters, and it was interesting because it I was around that same time, I was venturing into these various slasher films, these classics. Friday the 13th was notable for having a bunch of those. They had all the those VHS covers in Blockbuster where it was just like the shadowy figure, usually like with a knife coming out or whatever. And I remember asking my mom, like, could Jason? So how do the rules work? Jason, can he kill you if you're like in a top of the bunk bed? Because I don't I'm a fucking stupid kid. And can we curse? This is a curse friendly podcast, right?
Sure.
Fuck it. So I'm watching Nightmare on Elm Street really young as well. Really a lot of things too young. I always tell my mom whenever she asks me why I have such a sick sense of humor, I'm like, well, don't
Your
show your
fault.
son RoboCop when he's 6. I don't know. Fuck. But yeah, so Scream, I basically grew up with it. I was born in 1990, so perfect age to be completely molded by Wes Craven. And I always just had a love for this franchise. I actually, as I've gotten more into the filmmaking side of things, as I've learned more and done more myself, I find myself really appreciating what Wes Craven did with those movies more and more. Because he was always like, I always, for a while, I thought that he was kind of a lower tier horror filmmaker. I think specifically because I remember when I was a teenager, I saw Nightmare on Elm Street in theaters for the, I think it was probably 2006. They did the DVD re-release and they, showed it all in theaters. And I remember seeing it in theaters and going, you know what, actually, now that I'm watching on the big screen, this isn't that great. Like it was still really good. I still enjoyed myself, but I found like myself really pointing out the flaws. And what I realized as time went on is that Wes Craven has this very classical sense to him. Like he's obviously a filmmaker who, he obviously, he started off doing some like porno titles, and he did some horror titles like Last House on the Left, and was obviously like this young filmmaker, these big dreams. It's like, well, what can I do with no money so I can get my name out there, so I can start making movies? If I can do porn, cool. I can do horror movies, cool. And he just got kind of fucking stuck in the horror movies. And they even make a joke about it in Scream 3, where Roman says that he has to make a horror picture in order to do his like drama or whatever. And that's, what Wes Craven was doing with Scream 3. And as time has gone by, I just find myself fucking loving this very classy Hollywood sensibility that Wes Craven brings to what could very easily be a very none too serious filmmaking venture with Scream. He's a guy that took his movie seriously. Didn't always work out, but I think for the most part, he was always that filmmaker who you watch his stuff and are like, that guy fucking knows movies, man. That guy fucking, he gets it, man.
Yeah, I mean, he had such an interesting like career. I mean, he was kind of in the trenches in the early 70s of exploitation and horror, and grew from that, and of course did Nightmare on Elm Street, which completely changed the horror genre forever. And then even his stuff in like the early to mid 90s, it was really interesting. Like stuff that comes to mind is People Under the Stairs, him doing the sort of meta horror thing way before Scream with New Nightmare.
Yeah.
So, I was kind of going over his IMDb just while I was taking notes, and he's just had such a interesting and varied career. Like, yeah, he's kind of straight out of the genre, which of course nobody kind of remembers those movies, right? Like, wasn't like he did Music of the Heart, I think, which was like a drama that
that was the movie he had to do Scream 3 to get it produced. Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, sadly, he's somebody that I've never got to meet. Like, I got to meet a lot of really awesome like directors. John Carpenter. It's his birthday actually today. When we're recording.
Happy birthday, John. John, happy birthday.
Yeah, I mean, of course he listens to this show, so but yeah, like George Romero, I got to meet him. He was awesome. But like, I think it's such a shame that I never got to like meet Wes and talk to him, because again, I think he's very underrated. I mean, of course you have like the Elm Street series, and I mean, he has a lot of these underrated gems that I think don't really get talked about that much. Like Deadly Blessing, you've seen that one?
I've seen Deadly Blessing.
Yeah, I love that movie. And it's a shame that he didn't like it, because I think it's a really interesting, weird little like folk horror that honestly just, I'm kind of glad that like Scream Factory did a re-release, because more people are finally kind of checking it out now. But yeah, I could talk all day about that. But anyways, we're here to talk about Scream. So rewatching it was a lot of fun. I think that it's been so oversaturated, but I feel like the first time you actually see Ghostface was such an awesome and like legit scary moment. I mean, when I saw that at 11, I wasn't terrified, but I was like, oh shit. Like,
it's a very visceral opening, despite it being so meta. It's again, like, you could easily, as a filmmaker, look at this, because the script is obviously at least a little comedic. It's not meant to be taken entirely seriously. And, again, to Wes Craven's credit, he treats all the horror as horror. He doesn't treat it as comedy. I mean, obviously you get Ghostface like getting the shit kicked out of him, more so in the sequels. But even then, like, I don't even know how, like, I don't know what the secret sauce is here, but even him getting the fucking shit kicked out of him, you still, like, it adds to the horror almost, because you suddenly have this feeling of like, oh, this is a real person out to really kill this other person. And when that's not happening, he's always like 10 steps ahead. of the person in the, who's calling on the phone, and he's, getting inside the house. He's at the window. He's timing everything perfectly. And so you feel like, on the one hand, this is a real life psychopath. On the other hand, you have this facelessness that is indicative of, your standard issue slasher villain. And it makes it feel different from other slashers, and it helps to make it maybe a little bit scarier. I wouldn't say that, as an adult, any of the Scream movies freak me out. I think it's funny that they'll talk about how scary they are and how like bloody they are, and they're not really either. Like there's bloody moments, but like I can think of like a handful of like truly grisly kills in a Scream movie. But yeah, that first moment with Ghostface, which I believe the first shot is her at the window and he like pops up, right? Like right in front of her.
Yeah. And I mean, it's so interesting because that scene is so nihilistic, but yet it's also so Wes Craven because, Craven kind of had this motif running throughout his films of like family and the family unit. And so it's, kind of fitting with Craven that he would like do something so kind of perverse and nihilistic, which is have her like mother on the phone with her as she's like dying. I think that, I mean, it's really twisted and you don't really know like Casey as a character, obviously, but like everybody loves Drew Barrymore and you already come in. Yeah.
It's a coup of casting.
Really I mean, you have this,
it's an actress who at that point, everybody had watched her grow up in the movies. And they all had like little fire starter Drew Barrymore in their heads, and gonna fucking slaughter the shit out of her. I think, was that the first time she died on screen? At least violently died on screen?
I don't know, but that probably sounds right. Cause I mean, who would kill her off unless
she's still super young at that point. Yeah. And yeah, the parents, I mean, I'm a parent now. And it hits even more like more of a raw nerve when you have kids, because there is that like even like I don't know the actors' names, but the parents for Casey, like listening to them realize that she's on the phone. I think it's the mother that picks up, and her like realizing that that's her baby girl on the other end of the line, like. It's a perfectly directed scene, perfectly acted, and you feel that just raw fear. And then, she runs outside, sees the thing, she screams, and you get this shot of just this grisly, horrific, hanging, bloody teenage girl. And it is very distressing. And then, boom, that's Scream, baby. Buckle your fucking seatbelts.
It's so genius. I mean, it definitely does the Psycho where, you had Drew on the poster, you knew she was going to be okay. You knew she was going to be like the main star because it's Drew Barrymore. Of course she is. To have that kind of ripped out from under you, I think is so brilliant. And it makes you feel completely unsafe for the rest of the movie. Like if she can die, everybody.
It's the only thing that the sequels can never really match at all is that opening. Like, it's impossible. It's such a borderline. I mean, Scream 2 does a good job of being iconic in its own right. But it's not a particularly frightening one. It's more kind of, you're feeling the meta-ness, the critiquing of the audience more. And I will say I'm not going to spoil anything for Scream 5 or just Scream, because I know you haven't seen it yet, but really solid use of the opening in this one. I think it's probably one of the better openings. It really can't give any details, obviously, but it's one where it works really well. They all have their own like certain idiosyncrasies that are really fascinating, but it's just impossible to get that same thrill factor of seeing America's sweetheart Drew Barrymore get fucking slaughtered.
And just like hearing interviews, seeing behind the scenes, it's kind of cool that she was so down for it.
Yeah.
Um, it kind of makes you like her even more. But yeah, so I don't know what else there is to say about the first film. It's perfectly directed. I think it has one of the gosh, I mean, I think it's like one of my favorite 90s horror films, like by a
I mean,
mile.
it gets better every time I watch it. Like this time, I think one thing that that stood out for me, and I don't know how I never noticed this, but he uses a lot of wide lenses in very small spaces, and it has the same effect that you see in a lot of like old Hong Kong kung fu movies, where it's just distorting everything as it pans across rooms. And specifically like in kill scenes, there's a lot of distortion. And I don't know what exactly it adds because I only just noticed it this time somehow, but it does give it like another just extra like layer of its own vibe. And that's another thing about the Scream movies is they immediately just have their own vibe going. And it's like, again, you could just make a fucking standard slasher out of this with the really, fun Kevin Williamson script. You could treat it as kind of a joke, whatever, but it feels like everything Wes does, it just works in favor. I mean, there's some bits where it does show its hand a bit more. Wes Craven's cameo as Fred the janitor is one of those moments where you're like, so things like that kind of like betray the hand a bit and make it more obvious as, going more towards satire and parody. But overall, like the balance is there. And that's an important thing in filmmaking is finding the balance. Like if my thought on film as an art is you basically have a line that you draw in the sand for yourself anytime you make a movie, and each movie has a different line. And if you have a franchise and that franchise kind of, keeps the same line usually, and you kind of have to stay on it. You can't go too far back from the line, and you definitely can't go too far over the line. And Scream, even like just as a whole franchise, but more like definitely in the first film, it's always right on the line. It never goes too far. There's certain, like I would say the opening of 4 maybe reaches a point where it's almost too much.
Yeah.
For some people, it might be too much. And like there's little details here and there, usually in Scream 4. Scream 4 is the one where a lot of things go a little too far over the line or almost go too far over the line. And Scream 3 has some issues as well, obviously, well-documented issues. Jay and Silent Bob showing up is a bit weird. That fucks things a little bit. Roman as a villain kind of fucks things. Which my wife, she watched all these for the first time with me. And she got the first 2 movies killers right. And then she was so fucking pissed. She did not get Roman because it's so out of left field.
Which I guess we'll talk about that more when we get there. But yeah, it's complete. Well, I mean, not to jump the gun a little bit, but I actually like Scream 3. I don't
like
it.
And I should note, I like all these movies.
Yeah.
It's just to varying degrees, but like it is an aggressively consistent franchise.
Yeah. So to pivot to the sequel, rewatched it the other day just in order to prep for this. And, I have to say that as far as sequels go, it's really fun. And I think while the opening isn't really as strong, because that's a very high bar, it's really fucking rad. Like it certainly threw me for a loop because there is kind of like this wonderful sort of, so I will say like the whole stab thing being introduced in the sequel and in the rest of the franchise, I think is like the coolest thing, because it fits so well with the kind of thesis of the first film. And it seems fitting that there kind of would be like a film within a film.
Oh yeah. I mean, it feels very like it feels designed. Like I know that Kevin Williamson had ideas for a sequel when they were making Scream. And of course, I mean, it was a aggressively fast turnaround because it came out I think it came out less than a year after Scream debuted, which is insane. But they almost, it kind of, the concept lends itself so well to Kevin Williamson's initial idea. Cause of course, you're having a go at slasher movies. Well, most great slasher movies have a sequel. So like, it's all there for you. I think like once you got past two, as much as I do like all the movies, there is a point of like, oh fuck, what do we talk about now? Like we've talked about the initial film. We've talked about the sequels. Where the fuck do you go? And luckily horror and slashers have evolved over time, and there's, it's created things for the filmmakers to comment on. But Scream 2, it almost feels like it's served on a silver platter, and it could still be fucked up, but you still got Kevin Williamson, who has not gone completely insane yet. And you still have Wes Craven, and you still have your very likable cast of characters. Fucking Dewey's there. Like everything kind of works for the production, and the inclusion of stab as a concept is so brilliant, to the point where you can almost, when you go back and watch Scream, it's hard to believe that stab is not already a part of the franchise. Obviously it can't be, but like it feels so ingrained and so natural. It's like, yeah, Scream and stab, obviously.
Yeah, and I mean, I do really like how, so kind of watching these back to back, you definitely, I mean, the characters are fleshed out a lot better, I think. Like Gail is not a really great character in the first film. I mean, like she's a good foil to Sydney. But I think that the script kind of gives room to kind of grow her as a character, grow Dewey and their relationship, which I think is pretty adorable. And I guess they were both dating at that point, I guess.
I think it was they met. Courtney Cox had a funny. It was we met on Scream 2. We met on Scream. Sorry, we met on Scream. We were sleeping together on Scream 2, and we shared a trailer on Scream 3. Is what she said.
Oh, okay.
Which who knows? I might have started fucking on Scream. I don't know. But yeah, it's like one of another just amazing thing that is somehow consistent with Scream is the supporting characters are just muy bueno every time.
Yeah.
That's one of those things where like a lot of slasher movies have better supporting cast than they're sometimes given credit for. And a lot of slasher fans know that, you have people who can name like every supporting character in the Friday the 13th series because, there's always something to pull from there. But Scream really with some minor exceptions, just stellar supporting cast. And that goes for the supporting cast that kind of goes through the, entire series, or at least until they die, and the individual entries. They're all memorable. They all have their interesting characteristics. One of them is Parker Posey in Scream 3, and that's like a whole different level. But and Dewey and Gale, good characters in Scream, likable. I know my wife was girl bossing over Gale in the first one, but I mean they're portrayed as, one is a conniving journalist and one is kind of a ditzy cop. And in the next film, it's like, okay, well, we gotta strengthen the foundations here. And they just add that extra dimension, and they kind of keep doing that. I'll say again, no spoilers, but Scream 5 fucking keeps that ball rolling.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so now my question for you is, what did you think of the killers in part 2? Because I have my own thoughts, but I wanted to kind of...
I think they're fine. I would say that, if you look at the whole franchise, there's really only 2 movies with like really just like grade A killers. First one, obviously, Billy and Stu are fucking the best. And then I think 4 doesn't really, like, Rory Culkin's not amazing, Like, I mean, he's great in the role, but like his characterization is just to be the accomplice. But Jill is like next level fantastic, way ahead of her time as well. Like you watch that now, you're like, yeah, fucking influencer culture, man, that'll do it to you. So, already there's not, if you just look at it like that, not a whole lot of amazing killers. It's really more how they play into the themes of the film. I think that, Mickey and Mrs. Loomis, what's her fake name? Debbie Salt. Is that right? Debbie Salt plays into the slasher formula pretty well because of course she's the mother of the killer. Like that's pretty good. That's a great idea. The reveal of her less great because you've just seen this like pesky reporter, and I because I watched it so young, I don't really have like an objective standpoint. For my wife, it was super obvious, like sometime in the second act that, oh yeah, Debbie Salt, she's one of them. She's in on it. Like there's something, and like she didn't get the motive right because it's one of those like, how the fuck do you even get that motive right? But she knew that there had to be something going on with that bitch because she's constantly being focused on, and why else would she? And then Mickey like makes sense in so much as he's kind of the weird film guy, but also like feels too obvious to the point where you kind of forget about him because he kind of disappears like halfway through the movie. And so they're fine. They work for the concept. And he's definitely the accomplice to her. I think there's always like like Stu, if you think about it, is really only great because he's Matthew Lillard.
Yeah.
And it's the first movie. Like he's the accomplice to Billy Loomis. That's just how it is. So there always has to be not always has to be an accomplice. Obviously 3 doesn't have an accomplice. 5 may or may not have an accomplice. Won't spoil that. But they're fine. They do the fucking job, They do the fucking job. And one of them is one of the greatest actors of our time. He's so sexy.
Yeah, like I love Laurie Metcalf, so I'm not going to complain about her. I will say I just kind of wish it was set up better, and I understand that they had to ditch the original killer because I guess it got leaked.
I still don't understand exactly how truthful that is because there's like all these like contradictory statements. I haven't done like deep research, but when I was looking at it, I was like, okay, so they had a bunch of fake scripts and they definitely had a fake script leak as well, or it was just the fake script, or there was the fake script and then also the real script and they had to change. So like already they're trying really hard to not let anybody know what the truth is. But with how kind of slapdash, especially Mickey feels, it does seem like, yeah, they must have ditched it.
Yeah, because I mean, again, it's like you said, it feels a little sloppy. It doesn't feel like something that, Williamson would have necessarily had pulled out originally. Just because again, his stuff is so polished because it's set up and paid off nicely. But yeah, again, like kind of echoing what you said, I don't hate it. It just could have been better. Any other kind of final thoughts on the second film before we pivot to the third one?
I mean, I guess not really. I like that it takes a risk or two. I like that it's another film that has a lot of just very filmic quality. I really wish we could get a proper like new transfer and restoration of the negative, because every release I've seen has this like slight video quality to it, like because it's just an older transfer and it just doesn't look as good. It's whatever transfer they did for the DVD is what it looks like every time. Like I watched it on I think whatever streaming service it's fucking on. And I just was like, this looks fine, but I know it could look better. And the same for 3 as well. It's like they have this like slight, just older transfer look to them. And like I look at the newer transfer of Scream and it's like, oh, it looks so fucking good because fucking Craven knew what to do, hired a good DP. I don't remember who fucking shot these movies, but still, like it looks so good. And I can tell that these other two movies probably look pretty good, but it's not like, it's slightly filtered through this sort of video look that frustrates me a bit. But there's a shot, and I meant to actually go back and rewatch just this shot before, but I forgot. But the very last shot as it goes to credits is a helicopter shot, but it starts on like a telephoto zoom, like medium-ish shot of I think Sydney and whoever else walking away in the college square or whatever. And it's unbroken. It goes from this like really close shot to this wide shot of the college. Has to be a helicopter. Could literally not be anything else with how the camera movement goes. And all I could think was, how the fuck did they do that? And it's just another like boost for Craven. He made fucking movies, man. He did not fuck around and saying, oh, well, it's just a horror movie, or it's just a sequel, and this is Wes Craven. This is how I sound. He, made a little fucking slice of cinema. And I God fucking damn it, I love that man's work.
And I will say that the DP on Scream 2, Peter Deming, had quite the interesting career.
Peter Deming, okay.
Evil Dead 2, stuff like Drop Dead Fred, My Cousin Vinny, Lost Highway. He also did Mulholland Drive, both for David Lynch, and shot Scream 3 apparently as well. So,
which makes sense. I mean, Scream 3 and Scream 2 do look very similar. It's a great film. Almost there on par with Scream. Almost.
I will say, I do really like, again, when I started watching these films, I was also at the same time kind of delving into a lot of these like slashers, like a lot of the stuff that like Randy was talking about was like the exact stuff that I was like raiding my video store for. So I thought it was really fun that they did like college-based slashers. Like I'm a sucker for those. So I kind of like how they took the sequel and sort of did a pastiche of those kind of films.
Yeah, I think, isn't it Randy who like at one point just rattles off like every college slasher you can think of? Yeah.
Yeah, it's great because, I can still remember being like, okay, gotta check this one out. So, so now we get to Scream 3, which is kind of the one everybody likes to like shit on. It does
redheaded stepchild, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it does have its issues, but rewatching it, I can definitely say that it's certainly not a great film, but it is a fun film. I was entertained. It certainly has a different feel because Williamson obviously did not write that one.
Aaron fucking Kruger.
Yeah, I mean, the irony though of like the last name Kruger though.
Yeah, I don't particularly care for Aaron Kruger's work, so that's already a big. Apparently, Wes Craven had to rewrite a bunch of it because he didn't like get the characters right, and that doesn't surprise me.
What else did he do? Because
I guess the most notable thing from him is Skeleton Key.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming that's still in the public consciousness. I don't.
Yeah, wait, that's the one with
Naomi Watts, right? I think it's Naomi Watts. I'm not good at.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now.
Skeleton Key.
Oh, the one with Kate Hudson. So I will say that movie's all right, but I kind of like love that Kate Hudson's character like reads to a woman to death in the very beginning. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I mean, Skeleton Key's fine. It's a perfectly good film. And you know what? I always forget about this, but props where props are due. As much as I like, especially the back half of his career, like I'm kind of worried that he did Top Gun Maverick, but um, fucking Reindeer Games. Hell yeah.
Oh wow, I did. Okay.
Yeah, I will say that. Like, I really don't like Aaron Kruger, but fucking Arlington Road and Reindeer Games, quality shit. More so Reindeer Games. I'm an unabashed stan for Reindeer Games. Um, but yeah, I mean, the fact that it's not Kevin Williamson, it shows and it affects things.
Yeah.
The film is almost immediate. Actually, yeah, it's immediately like a few steps, like really skirting the line. Like it really starts to push it a little too far into parody territory.
Yeah.
And luckily Wes Craven, he for the most part manages to hold it back. But it is one of those things where it's like, oh, this is really fucking dumb. Like, this is going to be a tough sell because this is fucking stupid. I don't understand. Like, there's a lot of logic issues. And in Scream 2, it's alleviated by the fact that it's, set in a college. The stab thing isn't really all that important to the plot or anything. It's more of a background element and, for like the opening. And by focusing it more on stab, like, I think are they doing stab 3? That's right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're doing stab 3. Cool. And I think the plot of stab 3 is supposed to be that they come back to the hometown. I don't understand why everything is exactly the same, where they have like, even Tatum's like death scene has been re-envisioned and like there's blood all over the puppy door. It confuses me. Like, the internal logic of the movie within the movie makes zero sense to me. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, and it also is really like cringy when you think about how, like, okay, so this was Dimension Films, Weinstein, and the whole like thing about Scream 3 was the casting couch, and you watch that today and it's like, oh, yikes. But I kind of see it as basically like a Scooby-Doo episode, and I feel like I've heard other people sort of there is definitely a lot of like sleuthing going on. I don't hate that. In fact, I think that that's one of the maybe elements that kind of make it engaging, even if it's a little like,
well, I think that
hokey.
Sydney Prescott as a character is pretty one note overall. Like, she's great. Like, she's a total girl boss. She's great to have like the big final line against the baddie. And she's, perfectly fine. Of course, Neve Campbell, great actress. Like, but she's just, as a character, she's very much just the audience's way in. And, very classic archetype. And so she's just not the most interesting. That's fine in the first two because, again, they're just fucking great films. And she has this great support and they're very streamlined. The problem here, of course, is it's less streamlined. It's more kind of all over the place. But the positive side is because Neve Campbell was working on a TV show and a movie at the same time, they only had her for, I think, 20 days out of the shooting schedule, so not very long. So she spends most of the movie just not fucking around. She's just in her house doing her little phone call thing. And eventually she makes it to Hollywood and then, gets wrapped up in the plot. But she's really only there. I think she only shows up in her house, the police station, and the mansion. I think those are the only time, like, locations or sets where you see her. So they had to like fit her in just right. So almost the entire film is the Scooby Gang going out, to use a Buffy reference, the Scooby Gang going out and doing their investigation. And so you get to follow Gail Weathers. You get to follow Dewey Riley. You get to follow all these people that are far more interesting than Sydney. And then, of course, you have Parker Posey as part of the group. And Parker Posey fucking destroys the entire thing. She's so great. She's so fucking good. Which is, not surprising. Every movie she's in, she's the standout. And then you have, a reasonably okay cast. I don't remember the character's name, but the guy who gets blown up, he's really good. Emily Mortimer's fine. She's a good, like, her character is kind of just a setup for the joke where she says she fucked the producer and runs away. Because up until that, because like you're kind of like what the fuck's with this chick? She's kind of weird. She's like, kind of reserved in a weird way. What the fuck's going on? And then it's just, oh, she fucked the producer. A joke that doesn't work quite as well in modern times.
Yeah.
But in the moment, pretty funny. And then I fucking can't remember the black guy's name.
Dion Richmond.
Yeah, Dion's fucking great. He is not in the movie nearly enough. And then I think it's Ginny McCarthy plays the like slutty character, or like the actress who's in her like 30s playing the young slutty teenager who is only in the film for 2 scenes and dies both in Stab 3 and in Scream 3, which is a great gag. Almost one, like I wish that her character wasn't reliant on that gag because she's really good in the role, but you only get her for 2 scenes because that's the gag. But overall, like, you have great cast of characters. You have a story that, has something to say. It's the least, it's oddly enough, like, it's almost kind of the least meta of the series because it's really like, it's kind of about sequels and stuff, but really at the end of the day, it's more of a straight mystery than the others. It plays far less into being commentary on the genre so much as it's commentary on Hollywood, which makes it broader and makes it, less, less special, I think, plot wise, which I think is another thing that kind of like affects it for people.
Yeah. And it is, again, I feel like the thing that I hate the most about Scream 2 is killing off Randy. Like, I think I wonder like what he could have done in this sort of Hollywood context. I think it would have been a lot of fun. I mean, we do get the videotaped cameo.
Yeah, that's one of those moments that it kind of takes you out of the movie a bit because it's so obviously just like, we fucked up.
Yeah.
Which I actually like. I like Randy's death in Scream 2. I definitely missed him immediately because he's a great presence. But it's one of those, like, you kind of got to sacrifice for the sake of drama. And it does, in that film, create a sense of no one's safe, except for Sydney. And, that's necessary. And I think it helps that film. And since that is a better film, it works for me. But yeah, it would have been nice to see Randy, and him having the tape is so stupid. It also brings up the issue with all of these movies, which is that the rules that they are putting out there aren't really rules. Like, they're not, slasher movies don't really work that way. Like, luckily, I don't think they ever use the black guy dies first trope. Cause I know that like there's like definitely like characters who say like, well, I'm black, so I'm definitely dying. Yeah. I don't think they ever use the black guy dies first trope, which is good. But then there's like a lot of tropes that they bring up throughout the series where I'm just like, that's not really how slasher movies work though. Like it's fine because it's made for a mainstream audience. It's not made for someone who knows every single slasher movie inside and out, because immediately you realize, wait, actually these don't follow a rule book. Like they're their own movies.
Yeah. And that's kind of why, like, I kind of love, I mean, we can pivot to 4, but I kind of love like Kirby is the new Randy. And I love that.
So good.
And it kind of had that, like, again, I don't necessarily need movies name checked, but as a diehard fan, I also get like super happy when movies get name checked, especially like obscure stuff. Like, I love that Peeping Tom was mentioned in part 4. Just because,
although it's a fucking bullshit answer to that question, but yes.
Yeah, but I mean,
the question is what kickstarted the slasher genre.
Yeah,
and Peeping Tom didn't kickstart shit. It just happened to be a prominent precursor. So that's one of those that always bugs me. It's like, it's not true, you fucking like asshole. Like you're like, I know that you're either Jill or you're the fucking head of the cinema club. You should fucking know this, asshole. Ugh, drives me nuts.
Yeah, but I totally agree with you. I will say I am happy that it got, maybe even if it got like one extra person to check out Peeping Tom.
Yeah, it's nice to hear about these lesser, well, I guess lesser known in the mainstream films being name checked. It was really weird. This isn't really a spoiler or anything, but in Scream 5, they talk a lot about elevated horror. And so you get a lot of name drops for like the Babadook and It Follows and stuff like that. And it was one of those like, this is so fucking weird. What's happening right now? And just to cap off Scream 3, you know, I think the big problem beyond all those like little issues of like structure and tone is just that Roman sucks.
Yeah.
Roman sucks. Like the movie's really good. Roman sucks. So
yeah.
He's such a like fucking loser. It's an unnecessary retcon. It is like, I feel like it's almost ahead of its time because we eventually would get to a point where there was a lot of retconning in just cinema in general, like any franchise cinema. There's a lot of retconning. Fuck you, F9. And like, if it was played with more, it might be more interesting, but instead it feels like a legitimate attempt just to retcon things. And, you know, I don't want to talk too much about the agency of murderers, but it does take away Billy Loomis's agency in the first film retroactively. And that kind of sucks, especially again, because fucking Roman. Like,
yeah.
What a lame character. And they cheat too. The film cheats when Gale goes and checks his pulse, doesn't feel a pulse. And like, you know, you can make, you know, like Wes Craven said that, oh, well, you know, they make drugs that can slow down your pulse. And my wife suggested that, well, she could have been just like in the moment and freaking out. But just don't show that. Like, instead, like, all you had to do was she freaks out at the body, slams the door shut or something, and that's it.
Yeah.
Moves on. And then later on, oh, Roman's alive. Because like most people aren't going to be fingering him for the killer anyway, because he sucks. Even though he does get the requisite, you know, taken in for questioning and then seemingly proven innocent thing, which is generally a bad sign. Like, that turns pointing to the guy there, just saying. But yeah, I feel like if it wasn't for Roman and the big twist, the film would be more widely accepted. It'd still probably be the least on most people's lists, but fucking Roman.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy. Piece of shit.
Yeah. And I mean, as far as final thoughts, I guess I would say it's a good movie considering that I heard it had to be completely reworked just less than a month before shooting. Because probably a lot of fans are aware of this, but maybe some aren't. This had a whole different setting and plot, but it had to be reworked after the Columbine shooting. So Stu was actually supposed to come back, and it was actually supposed to, like in Williamson's original treatment, it was going to be like a cult of Ghostface killers.
Oh, right. I read about this.
Yeah. And what's interesting is if that of cult of killers sounds kind of familiar, Williamson kind of retold this somewhat for the following, his series. So it's kind of a mess. I still love it. I love
it's a fun mess.
Yeah.
Like, again, to Craven's credit, my new Craven's credit union, to Craven's credit, like, he manages to pull it all together. And that's amazing. Like, just fucking bravo to the man.
I mean, I think you hit it on the nail perfectly when you said that, like, he knows these characters so well that even when you have like a script that's not great, you at least have somebody that was there from the first film all the way through. I mean, obviously minus the new one, but I mean, up until then. And, you definitely had somebody that was steering the ship at least, even though the foundation wasn't necessarily the greatest. So yeah, I mean, it's always fun to see like Roger Corman show up for a cameo, like Carrie Fisher.
God, I was such a fucking nerd when Roger Corman showed up this time. I just turned off like, that's Roger Corman. It's Roger Corman over there. He changed Hollywood forever.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's fun. Again, there's definitely some things that are in hindsight really cringy / skin crawling, especially when they're espousing the casting couch when the person literally producing it.
And to be fair, I mean, yeah, having the Weinstein's name on it is meh. But at the same time, it is very critical of that situation, and it does present it as this thing that effectively started all these like it's like the source of all this pain and misery is fucking Hollywood rape shit. So, I mean, it's one of the most comedic of the films, so that, but yeah, I mean, it's treated serious enough. And Lance Henriksen plays Skeezy pretty good.
Yeah.
Love the man. Plays Skeezy really good.
Yeah, it's so funny because when I met, like, I had the absolute honor of meeting him, and he was like actually like one of the nicest guys. So it's always fun to kind of see him when he always plays kind of like an excellent bad guy. So yeah, that's always a plus. So Scream 4 is interesting because it really wasn't well received, as I recall, initially, but I think it's starting to kind of gain a new appreciation. I really like it. I think that, again, kind of like it has moments where it struggles with consistency and plot and tone. But I will say that it is very ahead of its time. It's interesting that you were saying about how, this was like influencer culture before that even really was a thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a film that is very ahead of its time. I think that there's like this element of like these older directors. Of course, this is Wes Craven's last movie. Died of brain cancer like 2 years later, 3 years later, something like that. A few years later. Like you look at, say, like Martin Scorsese, when he was first talking about how, this kind of theme park style of filmmaking was starting to take over Hollywood, and people were like, nah. And now you look at it and you're like, oh, fuck, he's right. He's very right. I think there's like this element of older generations directing these movies geared towards a younger audience. I mean, that doesn't really describe Martin Scorsese, but the point being, making popular cinema where they can better see like the overarching plot of the world, of the culture. And so when they look at these new concepts, they're like, okay, this is the direction we're going. Like they look at the, Twitter existing and Facebook and MySpace and live streaming and just social media in general. It's like, okay, it's pretty obvious what road we're taking right now, and puts it to film. Unfortunately, the rest of the world hasn't quite caught up yet. They're almost there. We're so close. Like if it was like 2-3 years later, I think it'd be fine. But just because it was 2011, it wasn't quite fucking there. And so some of it didn't hit as hard as it would today. And then some of it just wasn't, it was slightly undercooked because he didn't have, the information available. Like he knew where we were going. It's just not exactly how it would look. So like, what's his fuck with his little head thing, little camera.
Oh yeah, that's Rory Culkin's character.
No, the other one, the gay one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm blanking. I'm looking it up.
It is so many fucking characters. Robbie
Oh, right,
Mercer.
right.
So Robbie's character has that camera, and it doesn't make a lick of fucking sense. Like, how the fuck does this even work? And the same for like the cameras that Gail puts in the barn. Like, there's a lot of technology where you're like, it's not really how that works. Like, there's just a lot of like issues logistically with how any of this makes any sense. Like, how does this vlog work? There's no internal stabilization on that camera. It's going to look shitty as fuck everywhere he goes. It's constantly wobbling all over the place. And he's like turning his head all over the place. And like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. You know, if it was made today, it would look differently, but like you could get the general idea across very easily with just how fucking people interact on the daily. And so, you know, like I remember watching it at the time and thinking that some of it was a bit half baked, and watching it now, it's like, this is almost exactly right. Like some of it doesn't work, Robbie's character. But a lot of it's pretty on the money. Like, I feel like if we had gotten closer to influencer culture taking over like it has, given that knowledge, it like Wes and company would just be fucking all over it. Like, who fucking wrote? Let's see. Come on. Wait, was it Kevin Williamson? It wasn't Kevin Williamson writing, was it? It was.
Yeah.
It was Kevin Williamson. Yeah. So I think that if Craven and Williamson had these elements to really play with, would have been borderline perfect, because it's a great target to have. As it stands, you know, mostly works. It just feels a little dated in its approach. But when you get to Jill as the killer and you get to her motivation and she just says it out loud and she's doing her like get busted up, ready for the cops, ready for the reporters, it fucking nails it so hard. It's really good. There's a lot of like great macabre touches throughout as well, like Anthony Anderson getting the knife in his noggin and then surviving a little bit. I personally like the fuck Bruce Willis line. It's maybe going a little too far. But you know, there's a lot of like little details. It's gorier. You know, that when she finds the friend upstairs slashed open and like her guts have just spilled out and there's just blood all over the place. That's pretty next level because the franchise hadn't gotten that gory before. Yeah, I mean, it's and also again, really good supporting cast, and that's always important for these films. Always gets knocked out of the park. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Like, I feel like Emma Roberts is a national treasure, and I love her so much. And I hope the rumors true that they're doing another season of Scream Queen, because
that'd be great. Yeah. That's such a fucking silly show. I really enjoyed it. And of course, yeah, Kirby, Hayden. How do you say her name? Panettiere. Like I every time I see her name, I have like a little seizure. Panettiere, Hayden Panettiere. Who can I do a minor spoiler for Scream 5? Like the most like something you might even pick up on. So Scream 4, of course, Kirby gets stabbed to shit and then never shows up again. So we never get a confirmed kill. And of course, anyone who's familiar with Scream trivia knows that, you know, she was meant to survive and just got cut. And, you know, when the sequel came, they would have her. But then, of course, this movie did shit at the box office, did like 35 million or something total, I think. And that wasn't good enough. So no Scream 5. And of course, then Wes Craven dies, and, you know, so we didn't get Kirby. And Hayden, I know that she had a kid and had like postpartum, I think. And so that's like what she's been dealing with the last few years, from my understanding. And then there was something else, like a some like personal relationship. I don't really follow celebrity gossip, but I know there's like a lot of shit happening in her life where she's not really doing as much work right now. And so, of course, just look at the cast list. She's not in Scream 5. But there is a moment in Scream 5 where a character is looking at a computer and they're on YouTube, and which has a great cameo that had me like busting. But on the side, on the recommended videos, there's a bit where it says talking with Survivor or Kirby, God damn it, whatever, Kirby Reed.
Oh, nice.
And so you get that little like, yeah, she's still fucking out there, guys. So if she like, I'm sure if like I feel like they're probably going to do another Scream just because this one's doing gangbusters. So, you know, maybe there's that chance that we could get more Kirby, which would be great because she fucking slays. She's the Parker Posey Scream 4. She's so good. Just girl boss energy for days.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's funny you mentioned that because somebody had mentioned like the computer Easter egg. So I was like, oh, I wonder what that was. So that's probably what that was.
Yeah, it's they might have been talking about the cameo, but yeah, does seem to be the Easter egg. Is that little tidbit, which I totally missed. I didn't even notice because I was too like focused on the video that the character was watching to pay attention to the side stuff. So when I saw that online, I was like, fucking yeah.
Nice.
Give it. Like, I really don't know that we need more Scream movies. I feel like the one problem with Scream is that you have a very limited like number of targets for the satire. Yeah. And once you get past that, it's like, well, what's the point? Like, because it's a ridiculous premise to start with.
Yeah.
So you need some target. And like Scream 5, I think, has a really good target. A lot of people are butthurt about it, but stay mad, I guess. And you know, you need that target. I don't really know what the next target would be. Like I have no idea like what these films could tackle. But at the same time, I could really go for some more Kirby, y'all. So
yeah, I mean it's where, I mean, you get this with any series, especially like a horror series, where it basically starts to eat its own tail, right? Like there's only so much you can do where it starts becoming self-parody, or like, you know, yeah, like self-parody, like just, you know, making like what it was making fun of is now what it is basically. So
yeah, it's that thing like, oh, you know, when they introduced time travel in part 5, that whole bit. Yeah, that's another problem I have is like, and again, I won't spoil anything of note, but the thing that makes Screams 1 through 4 work are Wes Craven, and for the 3 best ones, Kevin Williamson.
Yeah. And
you can definitely feel when one or both of those aren't there. Obviously, Scream 3, you got Aaron Kruger. Things have some issues in the writing department. And then in Scream 5, you know, it's still like, it's really well directed and it is very well written, but there is a lack of the humor and the directing style that came with the previous films. It feels like there's a lot of, I'll keep all my criticisms. If you're listening to this and you're worried about spoilers, I'll keep all my criticisms to the most surface level shit. A lot of close-ups throughout the film. Drove me nuts. There's nothing wrong with close-ups inherently, but it just feels like, it felt like a lot of the movie was just close-ups of characters. And after a while, it was like, compose a fucking shot. And there's like great compositions. There's some really like stellar moments. There's that shot in the trailer of Ghostface in the hospital that is so good. There's a scene that deals with kind of like the behind the door jump scare type concept that's really well done. Like there's all kinds of stuff like that, but overall it feels like less of a classically directed film, which is just the way it is. Like it's newer directors who do not have that sensibility that Wes Craven had. And there's nothing like inherently bad about that, but it does show how like the cracks can start to form where it's like, man, like what if they get the wrong director? Cause like Radio Silence did a good job, but like, this could fall apart really easily. And then same with the script. It's like, there's not a whole, like the humor isn't really there. Like there are funny bits, but man, like even like the really silly shit, like Anthony Anderson with the knife in his head, like that's a funny bit to add into the film. There's a lot, like there's something inherently like morbidly funny about Tatum's death in part one. Or even just like Stu in general. Like Stu is a very like morbidly humorous character. Like you feel really bad for him, but at the same time you're laughing at him. When he's on the phone, or not when he's on the phone, but when he's bleeding out and he says, "My parents are gonna be so mad at me." Like it's like it's heartbreaking. At the same time, he's this murderer, so you can't feel too bad for him, but you're also feeling pretty bad. But then also, it's kind of funny that he's been stabbed all these times in like a very weird way. And it's kind of funny that what's he worrying about? He's worrying about his parents being mad at him. Of course, he's a teenager. Like there's so many like little details that come with two like just really smart filmmakers crafting these films. And I definitely felt that kind of getting pushed away a little bit, not in the extreme way, not in a way that like really hurt the film, but I could see like a Scream 6 where they just that line in the sand, they just go right over it, or they ignore it completely. They go this way or that way, and it no longer feels like a Scream movie. And suddenly this franchise that is like extremely consistent, suddenly it has that part 5 that introduces time travel kind of shit.
Yeah.
And things go a little awry. And I'm really hoping against that. It seems like it's in some good hands. Like there is a sort of meta twist to the narrative in 5 that I thought was really smart. And I kind of like was internally chuckling a bit because it felt like it was going to go one way, and then, which is, classic Scream. Felt it was going to go one way, went the other. And the fact that it did such a thing, felt very gutsy in the current climate. I don't really know. It's hard. I feel like almost like I'm like suggesting something far more interesting than what actually happens. But like it I think is in the right hands, but at the same time, I don't know. And I'm sure that they're not going to have the exact same creative team moving forward. So it's like, what's going to happen here? Is someone going to try to make just a straight slasher movie at some point? Because like that could be, what some dipshit producer does.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I am a little perturbed at the thought of more Screams, but at the same time, this franchise fucks so hard.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I guess the original plan for Scream 4 was supposed to kick off a new trilogy of films. And obviously that did not really come to pass. Like you mentioned, it didn't make very much money. Craven died. So it that got totally derailed, but it really would have been interesting to kind of see where they would have taken a new trilogy. I guess one of the ideas, like Sydney was supposed to be married to like Patrick Dempsey's character. And that was gonna, I guess, be worked into the trilogy somehow. Yeah, there's always these kind of what ifs. Again, I really would have loved to see the original idea of Williamson's idea for Scream 3 maybe get actually made and brought back into the film at some point. But yeah, I it's like you said, it's such a consistently good, if not at times great series. Even if you have some, I mean, it's certainly like where like Halloween, where you have varying degrees of highs and lows. This one certainly has a little more of a consistent, and I think Craven and Williamson really was that steering the ship as far as like having a consistently good series, even when you've got Kruger for 3 writing it. You at least had Craven there. So I guess, would you say that part 5 kind of feels like a Scream movie, even though it kind of doesn't have Craven at the helm?
It does feel like it. I mean, again, it feels a little different. It feels more like a horror film. There's not really a lot of humor to it, which, is a pretty important ingredient, which is why I'm a little like hesitant. Because I feel like, even like, you look at because if I remember correctly, didn't Williamson like produce Halloween H2O, but he didn't write it. He did like a story treatment or something. And this is an unpopular opinion. I don't like Halloween H2O. I think it is an insanely boring, kind of plain Jane movie. And I think a big part of it is it's, riding on that Scream energy, and it's using that Kevin Williamson name and like the broad brush strokes of a Williamson script, but it's not a Williamson script. And that's the problem that you kind of find yourself in, is like, this is a guy who knows his material. Like, sure, he's gone a bit off the deep end a few times in his scripts, but at least as far as Scream goes, he knows what he's fucking doing. He knows the balance. And Wes Craven knew the balance. And it's that uncertain waters thing. And like, if you look at it just by number of sequels, like, a lot of slasher franchises, the big ones, have had this many good entries. Like Friday the 13th, really the first time it gets bad for most people is like part 5. And Nightmare on Elm Street, if you like 2, it doesn't really get bad until like Rennie Harlan comes around, or even Freddy's Dead. Like, I would say it doesn't, like, that's a franchise that's extremely consistent as well. Oddly enough, also Wes Craven, at least in the first one. Oddly enough, I'm not a big New Nightmare fan. That's a weird. I know that's also an unpopular opinion. I think great idea, perfected in Scream. And then there's like Halloween. Halloween fucking goes off the fucking deep end real fast. Not a big H2 fan here. But so you look at Scream as a franchise, and if you don't consider the years it's taken, it's about that time to have just a fucking piece of shit show up. Like, I don't know. It's so tough. I guess I'm not too worried, because we have so many really solid films. Like, to have 5 really good, super meta slasher movies that don't shit all over their audience. Pretty good. Like, that's muy bueno. So it's a great franchise.
Yeah. So now, obviously after Scream, it kind of jump started the whole like teen slasher kind of horror thing. So what was your favorite like post Scream sort of, I don't want to say knockoff, but like knockoff?
That's tough. I haven't watched Valentine since it came out on video. So even though I have the Blu-ray, I keep meaning to rewatch it. I just haven't, because I have a 2-year-old. I remember that one being really solid. Probably maybe Urban Legend. It's so hard, because like, I know he did Last Summer is really good. I was really young when I Still Know You Did Last Summer, and I still haven't rewatched it since I was young, but I remember really liking it. But I know a lot of people fucking hate that movie, so I'm assuming it's not as good as my memory would suggest. But yeah, I think like the problem with those is I always had like this, well, it's not really Scream, is it, kind of mentality. But I would say, Urban Legend was probably one of the more like interesting takes on the subgenre, I guess. And we had some other, I think like a lot of like the best, like what came out of Scream was what happened after that initial teen slasher boom. Kind of the, like as it evolved into what we have now, like Black Christmas, 2006, for example, is so fucking good. And it has like elements of Scream in it, of that teen slasher genre, while also being grody as fuck and just weird. That's one I will fight to the fucking death for.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, what are some that like pop out to you?
Well, first, it's really interesting that we both love the Black Christmas remake. Um,
I feel like it's gotten a lot more like
like
uh lot of
it's been
fans over the
reappraised.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny because over the holidays, I showed it to a friend of mine, and he's like, "Well, I didn't like." He's like, "I'm ashamed to admit it, but I didn't like Bob Clark's original film." And we were friends, so I didn't tell him to like leave. But so he's like, oh, well, I don't know if I'm going to like it. I actually found like a used copy of the DVD and I sent it to him for Christmas. And since I already own it, but he actually ended up liking it the most out of, the original even, or like the new 2019
It was
version?
2018. I don't know. That was before
Yeah, somewhere
that
in there.
time.
But yeah, so yes, I love that one. As far as my favorite kind of post like Scream slasher movies, I mean, Urban Legend for sure is a lot of fun. And I recently watched I Know What You Did Last Summer, and it really holds up. It really, has that engaging mystery and a lot of interesting kind of misdirects. Like I showed it to my husband and he was really enjoying it and engaged. So
And
yeah.
you get to see Buffy die again. Same year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a lot of Buffy murder in 1997.
Yeah, it's funny, like I forget like what they paid her for her cameo in Scream 2, but it was like ridiculous. It was like one day of shooting.
Which is insane, by the way, because that's the same year that Buffy started. Because I think
Yeah.
Buffy premiered sometime in like the first like quarter of 97, and Scream 2 came out I think fourth quarter of 97 maybe. Um and it's insane that Buffy was already so big, just the initial
Yeah.
like it blows my fucking mind. Because that first season is very ramshackle,
Yeah.
and so it's hard. It's amazing to look back and say, yeah, and people fucking loved it. Man.
But yeah. Yeah, so I guess, summing it up, pretty great franchise. I'm definitely going to I want to see the new film. It's just right now, like with Omicron, and unfortunately the theaters around me are very lax with their, like, I'm fully vaxxed and boosted and all that good stuff. But yeah, like I just kind of want to wait till that stuff dies down a little bit more, hopefully.
Your
But
theaters have the seat picking stuff, like where you can pick your
yeah,
seat.
yeah. So that's
Yeah,
what
I always go for like a super early or super late whenever I can.
yeah, that's what I think I'm going to try to do. I'm just going to like let the whole like, initial weekend hype kind of die down, and maybe just like you said, go on a random like Tuesday or something.
Yeah, 10:40 p.m. Tuesday night. Fucking pick the far corner seat. Good to get. Like I actually was closest to the screen I think I've been in since like Transformers 2 came out. Like that was the last time I remember being so close to a screen. But I was trying so hard to find a theater that was not packed, because we're pretty good here in Vegas. But I still don't trust anybody because most people are fucking stupid.
Yeah. I mean, like, so what kind of like irked me a little bit. So I got, I guess it was like Candyman, like the remake sequel, whatever.
The requel.
Yeah, there you go. And everyone was pretty responsible in the theater itself as far as like wearing masks go. But like, then you had like in the lobby where it was like a free for all and everybody's packed in, and it would like just kind of skeeved me out. So I don't know.
Yeah, I wound up in a packed theater for Spider-Man No Way Home, and I was not pleased. Not pleased, especially after the movie ended, and I was just like completely I wasn't a big fan of Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm just a curmudgeon. That's what I've learned. But I had to watch it for work because I work for Screen Rant, and I had to do videos on Spider-Man No Way Home. And so I was like, fuck, okay, gotta do this. And fucking jam-packed.
Yeah, but I mean, hopefully it'll be a little less busy, but I definitely do want to see it because I just know somebody's gonna like spoiler it somehow.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try.
Oh yeah. I actually I was looking at the trivia on IMDb, and people are like, they put in spoiler heavy trivia in the non-spoiler section. And I was like, oh boy, oh, that's a minefield.
Yeah, I've like got everything like blocked on like Twitter, so I'm trying to like, keep it on the DL for now. But yeah, so I feel like that's probably a good place to wrap. But if you enjoy this episode, definitely consider giving me a like and consider subscribing for some more great videos. And, thank you so much, Michael, for coming on and talking Scream with me. That's been a lot of fun. So where can the folks find you?
Well, I'm on the Twitters at Michael Keene. And I'm on Instagram under at MB Keene. And then I'm on the YouTubes. If you just search like Michael Keene Vinegar Syndrome, that'll usually, or the link in the description of this here podcast. Yep. And also right now I'm doing a little crowdfunding for my next movie called Dr. Deathface, as previously mentioned up top. And that's going through March 8th. So go give me money. I love money. Actually, fun fact, we have almost a definitive deal with a distributor, and I can't say anything like name-wise, but to match our Indiegogo's $10,000 goal. Nice. So not only is this guaranteed just by virtue of me being relentless in my filmmaking, but it's guaranteed to be given like not a proper budget. A proper budget's like $100,000 like base level, but like for me, a proper budget. My first two movies were like $3,000 each. Like they were made for nothing. And this one, if we can just get our Indiegogo to its $10,000 goal, and it is a fixed goal, then we'll be playing with about $20,000.
Nice.
And plus whatever change we get. Which is pretty good. So, if you want to watch a movie about a man, a sex therapist, and his vagina bed that eats people.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tale as old as time, right?
Yeah, tale as old as time. It's a beautiful story. I have this weird love of inanimate objects eating people. That's what the head was about. Yeah, I'm going to be making a pretty fun film. I'm very, very excited about it. And I would just really like to have $20,000. Making movies for no money is a massive pain in the ass.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds awesome. I will definitely link the crowdfunding website in the description. So support this awesome artist, and yeah.
And fucking, I see you right there. I see you, fucking Bobby. I see you, and I see you thinking, oh, I'm not going to click on that link in the description. I'm not going to go give Michael money. I'm not going to follow everybody on their social medias. You fucking do it. I'll fucking find you. I'll fucking find you. I will gut you like a fucking pig. I will slit your fucking eyelids so you can't fucking blink, you piece of shit. I swear to fucking God. Anyway, yeah. Thank you so much for your support, and support this channel.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so yeah, definitely check his stuff out, and I will see you on the next video.